How to start software agency in 2025. Hi guys, Jacob here, and today I thought that I will record a very interesting video. So let's assume that I've sold or I've failed, or basically that I need to start a software agency in 2025 from scratch. And in this video, I just want to share how I would do it from the beginning, having all of my knowledge that I've gathered over the last 4.5 years. Before we start, if you're here for the first time, hi, I'm Jakob Wolitzki, and I'm co-founder of Deltologic, which is a 7-figure software agency where we build custom tools for Amazon sellers, vendors, agencies, aggregators. And from time to time, I like to also talk about my lessons, my learnings from running the business simply by sharing the journey with you. And I know that this series is kind of getting the popularity on YouTube. I've already covered a few other videos where I shared the experience of running the software agency, where I shared the experience with our own booth, some summaries from 1 year of running the agency, from 3 years of running the business. And yeah, I just woke up today and I got this crazy idea to drive to the office. I mean, it's a Saturday, and creating the video on how I would start this agency from scratch. I mean, it doesn't particularly have to be this agency, but overall a software agency. And yeah, it's very interesting time to start the agency because we always hear the word AI everywhere. And I thought it's just great time to record this video. So let's talk about services. First of all, I want to say that this video, it will be purely about running a software agency. It's not about running the HR agency or a marketing agency, as I have no experience doing that. We'll be focusing mostly on automation and software. And I will give you a very short story. Around 10 to 15 years ago, there was this very popular business model called outsourcing and IT, or body leasing. And basically, if you talk about the software agency in general, if you just Google it, that you will see a lot of different software agencies, software houses, dev shops, and their business model is really about leasing the developers to other organizations, other businesses, and just exchanging this for money, of course. Meaning that, yes, you hire team in-house, however, then your team is actually working for someone else. And this business model is really dying, especially here in Poland or overall in Europe. It made a lot of sense, let's say 10 years ago, when, for example, in Eastern Europe, you could hire developers relatively cheap and then outsource them to US or, for example, Germany. That wasn't really that high cost. However, nowadays, if you'd hire developer, I'm speaking from my experience here in Poland, we're talking about the salary of, let's say, approximately 60k euros yearly. And this is the salary that basically you hire developers in Germany, in France, in UK. I mean, of course, not all of the developers. I mean, I know that there are offers for 100k, but there are also offers for 30k, 40k. So it really depends where you are. What I'm talking about, it just doesn't make sense. Right now, it's very easy to hire a developer. I would say easier than ever. And also when it comes to not that experienced developers, it's much easier to overall hire someone who understands how to build tech solutions because of the AI. I mean, right now, if you just see what you can do with a ChatGPT or like GitHub Copilot, it's literally writing a code for you. So it's much easier right now to understand how to code than ever before. And me personally, if I would run a business, let's say a brand selling on Amazon, if I would need to build my own tool, I would definitely hire internal team for this and only go to experts for very specialized expertise, for example, understanding a certain API or technology. But I wouldn't go to outsourcing company and just lease the developers. It just doesn't really make sense. It's much better to hire your own team. So therefore, I think that this business model overall is really dying, and it doesn't really make sense to start a company like this from scratch. I mean, if there are companies like this existing, that's fine. If you are thinking of running your own software agency, I wouldn't really do it in such business model. I would definitely focus on providing these solutions to certain problems and build this kind of agency. And I've already spoke about this in the video, and you can go watch it. I just wanted to mention that. So if I start from scratch, what kind of service would I offer? So I would definitely focus on the development services, but not in the traditional outsourcing sense. Instead, I would leverage my internal knowledge to build solutions faster, more efficient, more reliable, and of course cheaper. And basically, this approach really aligns with the concept of productized services, which I believe is the best model that you can offer. So what is a productized service? I think the easiest way to describe it is it's just a hybrid between fully customized service, so meaning that you can offer anything to anyone, and then having a SaaS. This is kind of somewhere in the middle, meaning that you have ready blocks that you can combine together, change a couple of parameters, and then provide a solution to the certain problem. So it's still customizable. You can still adjust a lot of things, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel from scratch every time the new client comes. So let me maybe give you the example. Let's say that you got a client that is looking to create the AI chatbot for his business. Let's say that this client is running the marketing agency. So right now, if you have already built a couple of different chatbots, you wouldn't build this chatbot from scratch. If you already have the core tech, because you've built this chatbot multiple times, you can reuse it. So meaning you can really deploy something very simple in like 20 minutes, and then you can update the knowledge, you can update the prompts based on the client's project specification. And this means that you can really complete this project within like 5 days instead of 30 days, for example, if you do everything from scratch and for the first time. Also, speaking of chatbots, years ago, I think around 6 years ago, I actually wanted to create a chatbot agency, but back then there was like no AI, no ChatGPT, no low-code, no-code tools, and I remember I was building chatbots using natural language processing, some Python libraries, and a lot of different if statements. And even then, when I finished one project, and then when I got the other project, I reused a lot of code. So this is what is really like the productized services. And of course, basically, when we're speaking about chatbots today, is much easier and more efficient to build one than before. So if I would start now, I would definitely go and investigate like no-code and low-code tools, different AIs and automations. There's a very trending business model right now called AI automation agency. If you just type it, or if you're actually coming from this, there's like a lot of different YouTube tutorials. There's a lot of like YouTube gurus who just focus particularly on this business model. I would even say that this business model will get very saturated very soon because people think it's just very easy. And it's really not the case. I think that even Andrew Tate right now just releases this course on like how to start the AI automation agency, which is really crazy. I won't be really talking about this today. It's just that when it comes to tech overall, I would definitely focus on choosing those tools. The biggest difference than typical custom software agency and this AI automation agency that you actually are leveraging the existing no-code, low-code tools like Bubble.io, Make.com, then of course like AI like ChatGPT. Of course, we're talking about the API of the ChatGPT, so you can build tools on this. And yeah, there's like, I would say hundreds, if not thousands of them right now that you can use. Other than that, I would definitely consider data extraction or data providers. When it comes to various businesses, a lot of businesses, they need data. So sometimes it's the data that comes from the APIs. For this, you can build or use like existing data connectors. You can specialize in this. And sometimes it's just data that is not available through the API that you need to scrape. Back in the days, I actually was really interested in this like 7 years ago. You would need to build a lot of scrapers from scratch. Right now, there's also like a lot of tools where you just record a couple of actions and then the script is writing your code that executes later on. Or there are just no-code scraping solutions that you build scrapers using different blocks. So building the ETL tool is easier than ever before. And ETL stands for extract, transform, load. And a lot of companies, they are looking for services like this. I would even go a step further. There are companies like Apollo, for example, that provides you ready databases. So their business model is that they scrape data and they just sell this data, right? So when it comes to running such an agency, if you got the client who is looking for various data solution, I would definitely do first the research. Is like, hey, do I need to build a scraper, or is there data available already somewhere there so you can provide the client with this data? Now, I also want to talk about building websites in 2025. So website development has drastically changed. I remember we've done about 5 iterations on our website. First 2 iterations, they were purely custom, meaning that we've been building custom HTML, CSS and developing, and then we are deploying them on a Vercel, as far as I remember. And this changed completely since then. Right now you have also like those no-code website builders like Webflow, for example, where you can really build beautiful websites. You can go there. There's like a internal marketplace where you can purchase different themes and you can just customize them. And I think that when it comes to like this website development, really maybe 1% of the clients that will come to you would really need the custom HTML and CSS, JavaScript, and most of them, other 99%, I can really guarantee that Webflow or like other website builders will be enough to fulfill it. Now, let's talk about pros and cons on those website builders, AI platforms, no-code tools, low-code tools. So while those tools are incredibly efficient, there are some downsides, and the biggest issue is really that when you are providing a solution to your client, pretty much you really rely on a third-party platform, meaning ongoing fees. If this platform fails, if it's, for example, down, or if the whole business failed, you literally have a whole solution that you provided to your client that become unusable. Usually, I would definitely focus on using those tools when it comes to like building the MVP, minimum valuable product for your client. But then, for example, if you're building a SaaS, I would rather build the MVP, test it, and then maybe focus more on building it from scratch using custom development. When it comes to us, I'm speaking now from experience. We've built various platforms, usually varying from a cost of like $30,000 to $300,000. This was like 4 years ago. And now I'm confident that we could create some of those platforms using existing technologies, like those platforms, just in like 30% of this budget needed. But again, back then there was no such tools, or like if they were like really bad. Now, when it comes to custom coding, I will also argue that it's still relevant, right? It's not going anywhere when it comes to just some features. I think that this AI and low-code tools, they can really fulfill 80%, 90% of customer requirements. However, when there's more complex logic, it always requires custom coding. And I think that when it comes to building like scalable solutions, which means SaaS platforms, software as a service with a user base, those tools that you build using those platforms, they can become extremely expensive to run. I mean, companies that build those platforms, they also need to make money on something. And usually when it comes to scalability, this is where they charge you the most. I mean, if you build tools using fully custom software development, and let's say for your SaaS, the user base suddenly increases 100x, you'd probably need to change some servers, increase them on the AWS or some other cloud provider. Or if you're using like serverless technology like Lambda, it would scale itself, but it wouldn't increase the cost significantly. Let's say maybe 3x, 4x. But when it comes to those platforms like Bubble.io, suddenly they may charge you based on your users, which really doesn't make sense if the app is very simple. I mean, the app may really do nothing complex. However, if there's like just more users, at some point the cost increase like 100x as well. Those are just some of the advantages and disadvantages of using those tools. Again, I don't want this video just to be a comparison between typical custom software development and like no-code, low-code AI tools, but I really wanted to talk about it as well. And one last thing about custom software development is that if you're purely focusing on this, you can't build each project from scratch. Yeah, like you need to have boilerplate, you need to have your internal libraries, internal tools or blocks in your agency that you can reuse. So again, we're definitely talking about the productized services that you will be offering. All right, so let's talk about finding the clients. So if I would start from scratch, if I would have no connections that I've built over years, so my opinion when it comes to finding the clients didn't really change from other videos, meaning you need to focus on the niche. You need to find your niche. And then in this niche, you need to solve certain problems. You need to offer the solutions that are solving certain problems. And there are some examples of the niches that I will tell you. So for example, there's like a real estate, social media agencies, e-commerce sellers or vendors, medical industry, craftsmanship, retail stores, logistics. I mean, there's countless of the various industries that you can actually do a research about, or you can pick something that you are most interested about. And I can guarantee you that each of those industries, of those niches, they have their own unique challenges that your agency can solve. The most common problems are already solved with different SaaS platforms. I mean, this is basically how you develop your SaaS. This is this exact same strategy. You're searching for the problem in a certain industry, in a certain niche, and then you solve it on scale. This is how you build a SaaS. However, productized services like your agency, you are actually looking to do something very similar with this touch of a customization. So you need to deep dive in the industry, you need to understand the pain points, become expert in solving those problems with your tech stack. And now, how to truly succeed in the niche? First of all, you need to do a lot of research, study this industry online. And you need to network, meaning you need to attend conferences, you need to join various forums, and then engage with the community. When it comes to networking, especially going to conferences, I would definitely say that after parties, this is where you really meet people and exchange different thoughts and basically create your network. And on forums, such as, for example, Reddit, you have a lot of different subreddits. There is already community, so you can always ask, literally create a new thread and ask, hey, what are the biggest challenges that you're trying to solve right now in this niche? I mean, of course, this is a very basic question, but I'm just giving you some examples. Create a lot of content about it. Definitely start a podcast or a YouTube channel to share various case studies and solutions if you already solved something and built something. If you haven't yet, then offer free or low-cost work. This is how you actually get your foot in the door. I mean, if you really deliver something, prove your value, like the referrals will follow. Like, I guarantee that. This is what I really call like the network effect. So if you deliver a couple of solutions, if you share the case studies, record a YouTube or a podcast with industry experts, other people will start talking about you and you will start getting leads. And basically, you really need to do it for a couple of years. I'm not a crazy expert. I run Deltologic for 4.5 years, but I can tell you that every year I just look back and I'm like, how could I be so dumb? Why wouldn't that be obvious? So really, you need to be in the industry for at least 3 years to see if it really worked or if it failed. You need to always iterate on your work. You need to get feedback from your clients regarding the solutions that you've provided, regarding the work that you've done, that your team did. And this is really where you can evaluate. After 3 years of hard work, if you really have no leads, no money, no projects, I think that this is where you can really tell that, okay, you've tried everything and this niche is, for example, super oversaturated. And what you need to do is really go and find other niche and repeat all of this. Like, if you really do the great work here with the points I've provided, I guarantee you that your agency will succeed. I mean, it's really that simple, but at the same time, that hard. If you deliver quality work, I'm actually confident that you will succeed and you'll find best clients. And then, of course, there are other concepts like internal processes, hiring of developers, hiring of like experts, marketing, overall sales. Like, I'm not going to talk about it in this video. I just wanted to give you like a very high level framework on what I would do first to even start with. And yeah, that will be it for this video. And please let me know in the comments what you think about this kind of format of the video, because I'm doing it purely as a fun thing to do on the weekends, as I love to share my lessons and learnings on the journey of building this business, hopefully in the future more businesses. So yes, please share your feedback. I really read all of the comments. I'll try to answer all of you. And if you like this video, don't forget to click a like and subscribe. Yeah, thanks a lot guys, and I will see you in the next one.